We continue our working day in the UCMC. The next press conference is EGAP Challenge NGO, authorities and business unite efforts in order to create instruments for interaction between citizens and state authorities. Our guests are Oleksandr, Ryzhenko, head of the state agency for e-governance in Ukraine, Viktor, president of the East Europe Foundation, Penko, Dinev, country general IBM Ukraine, Oleg Bodnar, Cisco Ukraine country manager, Valeriy Makarenko, chief project management officer at Novo, and Lyakh, business development director, Intel Business Ukraine, Moldova. Please do not speak fast because we have simultaneous translation. We have about 35 minutes, and the first one is Mr. Oleksandr Ryzhenko. There's a microphone over there. It's on. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm happy to welcome you today. Today we have this wonderful event. We announced the launch of the national contest in the sphere of e-democracy. That's the first one. The objective of the competition is to promote e-democracy projects. As you know, during the Revolution of Dignity in Ukraine, we had the request from citizens for the instruments of e-democracy, with the help of which they could influence and control authorities. During 2014-2015, there were many legislative changes in this sphere. There were many civil society projects passed, which were quite efficient. We need to mention that today, at the national level and local level, there are many projects on electronic petitions in the sphere of discussing draft laws, in the sphere of requests from citizens, in the sphere of research of how authorities operate. There are many projects related to opening budgets, both local and national level, opening data, and we understand that this is a quite popular topic and it needs a big support. As you know, in Ukraine, internet penetration is more than 60%. More than 60% of citizens use internet today, and they are the users of internet. In accordance with other research, more than 25% of citizens, of users of internet, are ready to use the instruments of e-democracy for influence and control over the authorities. Today's GAP Challenge is a joint initiative of the State Agency on E-Governance, Eastern Europe Foundation, with the support of EGAP project, which was launched in 2015 and is financed by Financial Confederation. I also am happy that the competition from the very beginning has very powerful partners who will be able to ensure high-quality support for all the activities of the competition, who will be providing methodological and technical support of the projects which will participate in the competition, and you will hear about that today. Today we can say that the authorities, business, international organizations got united in order to develop projects in the sphere of e-governance in Ukraine, and I hope that this will be of high quality and very efficient. We have been preparing the competition for a long time. We took as the basis one of the best global practices, and these practices were directed to support such challenges, and Open Data Institute was consulting us in development of this project, and I believe this will be a very good guarantee that the project will be of high quality. I'm sure that this challenge will be implemented in accordance with the best world standards, and will get high-quality results. Now I would like to give the floor to Viktor Lyakh, who will tell you in detail about the project, about the stages of the project, and how it will be going on. Thank you, Oleksandr. I have a small presentation, 2 slides. I'm happy to welcome you all at the official launch of the competition, which we call EGAP Challenge. As Oleksandr said, we will be presenting in 9 months the project, the winners of the competition, who will be able to prove that the democracy in Ukraine works and that Ukrainians can use electronic new technologies, the technologies of electronic diplomacy, democracy, to ensure the dialogue with the authorities, to influence the process of decision-making, and to make the life of the community better and to develop the community. E-democracy is quite a new notion in Ukraine. That's the phenomenon that we've taken from the countries which are well developed, but we have our own history already. Oleksandr has mentioned that internet penetration is quite big, and we have a big electronic readiness. 60% of internet penetration, highly educated population, accessible infrastructure. These are preconditions for Ukrainians to use instruments of communication with the authorities. We are used to mobile devices to control, for example, our expenditures on our banking account. But why cannot we use that to communicate with authorities, to communicate between ourselves, to protect our interests, to defend our interests? Today I would like to present EGAP Challenge, which is co-financed by Russian Confederation with the partners, and there are several components: electronic democracy, education, and education, so that the work becomes more professional and more efficient. I would like to welcome our participants of the competition in the region. There are 4 regions: Space Hub in Dnipropetrovsk, welcome Dnipropetrovsk; Hub in Vinnytsia, welcome Vinnytsia; Impact Hub in Odessa, welcome Odessa; and the Foundation of Local Development of Lutsk, welcome Volyn. Our partners have similar press conferences in their regions now, and they're watching us. We use all these new technologies. You can get the information about us on a Facebook page, EGAP Ukraine. So about the competition. We have divided the whole competition into 5 stages. The competition will last for 9 months. Today, it is supported by several very powerful organizations. We thank such companies as IBM, Cisco, Novo, Intel for their support. I would like to say that the total budget is 4.5 million hryvnias, and that is the price, but I hope that we will be able to increase the budget of the competition. So how we will be selecting the priorities and selecting the partners for further work?
The first stage, which we are launching today, this is the research stage. Main objective of this stage is to analyze the needs of the sector of broad public, NGOs, governmental sector. We will analyze data, we will analyze the needs, we will analyze the tools which could be applied. Then, after this analysis based on that data. In May, we will start the next stage, which will conventionally be called creating incentives. We will, at this stage, held offline discussion, that is, discussions with people in the form of interview, and we hope that up to 400 people will participate in these discussions during this month. We will bring together the ideas about the clear forms how we will implement our work. Then there will be the stage of creative weekends when we will develop the ideas for the strengthen the ideas, make them sustainable, think how to involve people, how to involve users, how to calculate and develop solutions for the future. And at this stage, we will select the finalists in this competition, and the next stage will be a stage which we called incubation, and we will hold very intensive 3-day training, bring mentors who will train very intensively during 12-15 hours. We will bring together civic activists and NGO representatives. They will work on details of their projects, and we will provide assistance for nurturing their projects. Then there will be final presentation of the projects, and now the final stage about jury and the funding of the projects. The prize fund amounts to 4.5 million hryvnia. That's enough to finance up to 20 tools of electronic democracy. We also hope that we will be able to attract more partners interested in electronic democracy, and thus we will increase the number of sponsors for the prize fund. The project will last for 9 months, and finally we will produce some project. Today we hope that after 6 months we will present a short list of winners, and then within 3 months they will be able to implement their software projects and solutions. I mentioned about 4 venues, 4 locations for our project. Of course, we are not limited with all that. 4 partners. We invite more civil activists, more NGOs from different regions. We are interested in civic communications, in all sorts of public awareness work. With this, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Dinev. First of all, I would like to thank to the Eastern Europe Foundation and to the State Agency for Governance in Ukraine for invitation to support the EGAP Challenge project. Our company is interested in such activities as support of startups and because we clearly know that business angels and support of startups produced up to 60-70% of innovations in this area during the last years. And in this sense, our company contributes to the development of this sector. EGAP Challenge is really a good opportunity for young guys for startup businesses to develop project in the area of e-governance and to receive coaching and mentors attention and become capable to develop the projects. We already see a lot of hopes related to the candidates and we are already prepared to support the best projects in line with our global entrepreneurial program inside our country, and we will be able to commercialize them, the most successful projects. I believe this will be very good venue to unite experts, civil society activists, and develop model forms of e-governance. This is the trend which is rapidly developing in the world, and all the positive changes today with involvement of social networks, mobile technologies, etc., are happening in the world very rapidly with participation of young innovators. Again, I would like to thank to the participants for organization of all of this competition. We will continue providing our support. Try once again. Penko, thank you very much for your support, and I invite Mr. Valeriy Fishuk from Cisco Ukraine. Dear audience, I would like to explain what's going on and what is the reason for all this. Today in Ukraine, there is a huge strive of young people towards creative work everywhere in the cities, towns, small villages. We see young people who are eager to create real changes in the country, and today informational technologies should be a driver of these changes. And when we see this splash of interest to the digital technologies and electronic governance, we should support it. Why Cisco company is so much interested in these activities? Back in 1984, the founders of our company were in similar situation. Leo and Sandra, a young couple working in Stanford University, also participated in similar projects and in organized by similar foundations. And one day They invented such a thing as a router to enable Leo to send mails to Sandra, and Sandra and vice versa, because in the different buildings in Stanford, the different communication systems were used, and thus we got the first internet solution, and thus they managed to get their first $100,000 in investment, while today this is 200 billion company. And because this happened, San Francisco, they called their company Cisco, and the Golden Bridge, which unites the bay, the shores of the bay in San Francisco, became a logo of this company, like a symbol of communication. Our company in the world is a symbol of innovations and transformation. In Ukraine, we have a huge human potential, even if we look at the clear statistics. Global Innovation Index puts Ukraine in the first 50 countries. Creativity of Ukrainians we are able to observe every day. We are very grateful to the foundation, to the state agency on the governance who invited us to participate. I would like to finish with the final statement made by famous people. The Prime Minister of India, Modi, Madam Modi, Mr. Modi, changes could be only digital, which means that today the countries can change at a proper quality level and quickly enough, could be only based on digital technologies. And Mr. Gerhard Schroeder, the then Chancellor of Germany, he said a very important thing about e-governance. He said the following: these are the digits that should run around, but not the citizens. Thank you very much. I think the innovations and the creativity may push up the development of governance in Ukraine, and I would like to give the floor to Mr. Oleg Makarenko, the Novo company representative. During the last 2 years, the Novo company is a national operator of cloud technologies, tries to support almost all the projects related to development of e-governance and e-society project. That's why we are happy to join this challenge and to mention that Novo is ready to provide necessary cloud resources to all the participants of all of this project in order to implement technologies based on use of open data. That's why I welcome all the participants of this program, and believe that finally we will have a set of projects and services that will make our country more state of the art developed and more cloudy in digital sense.
I would like to invite Olena Kornienko, Business Development Director of Intel. Intel is one of the recognized world leaders in IT sector and has a big experience of implementing similar projects in the governance and the democracy in different countries of the world. We are an innovation company. We have expert knowledge. So the technological platform is modern, innovational, and such that is efficient. We're happy to welcome the participants of the project EGAP challenge in Ukraine, and we'll be ready to provide all our expert knowledge for implementation of the project. Thank you, Olena. Thank you, dear participants, for your contributions. We would like to thank the National Agency for Methodological Support and partnership in organizing the competition. Again, I would like to remind that today we are starting the first stage, which is called research. So I call upon representatives of IT community. If you have any ideas, please join us via 4 of our platforms in the region: Space Hub, iHub, Impact Hub, and Local Development Fund, Lutsk, Odessa, Vinnytsia, and Dnipropetrovsk, and our web page in Facebook. First stage is we are collecting the priorities, defining the priorities, collecting the ideas. If you have any ideas, please join us in discussions. And I hope that in 9 months we'll be demonstrating the results of this competition, the projects which will be working in Ukraine. Thank you all. This is it. Maybe you have any questions. Any questions, dear colleagues? Once you have no questions, I would like to invite you to informal part. You will be able to talk to our participants off records. Thank you.